Hi everybody, Matt Yonkovit, Hoss, here at Percona, Head of Open Source Strategy. We're here to talk about the blog roundup of the week. So if you haven't gone out and checked out the blogs that have been showing up on Percona's blog, we're going to highlight some of them for you and point out the ones that we think you should definitely go back and take a look at if you haven't already. We're also going to be talking about one of the community blogs that's out there that I really think is good and that I encourage you to go follow and check out. So right off the bat, you can see that the first topic is about Kubernetes. Kubernetes is a massive topic. There's been a lot of debate whether you should be running your databases on Kubernetes or not yet. But we do know that several enterprises are moving in that direction and have production workload. But if you're looking to get started, especially if you're looking to get started in an enterprise, you're probably going to be looking at OpenShift. OpenShift is Red Hat's version of Kubernetes. And OpenShift is probably one of the more popular deployments of Kubernetes in the enterprise. And so our good friend Mike Grayson, who had a recording with me a couple weeks ago, specifically on MongoDB, is talking about getting started with MongoDB in OpenShift. So I would encourage you to read that and kind of get that step-by-step introduction on how to do that. And I might actually go through and follow his advice as well as I go out and test some things. But the next article that I'm really, really excited about, and this is awesome, is actually Postgres on ARM-based AWS EC2 instances. Why is this a great blog? Okay, I've run ARM-based processors before. We probably all have played with Raspberry Pis and maybe micro machines and things like that. But the thing that is really spectacular and makes this my blog of the week, a must-read for everyone who's out there who runs Postgres, or even if you run MySQL or Mongo, checking out the performance of the ARM-based processors is something that you really need to take a look at. Because not only are you going to get a cheaper EC2 instance, so you're going to save some coin there, you're also going to be getting a better performing EC2 instances. That's right. What we've seen is, when you take a look at some of the numbers, a 19% increase when you're running ARM. You're also seeing that, here we've got almost a 15% increase in this test. So you're seeing, 30% gains in some of these. This is a massive increase in performance. And so if you're going to spend less money for better performance, that's something that's a win-win. And so it's definitely something that I would encourage you all to look at, because I think that is super important and it's a very exciting topic, and I really look forward to trying out more ARM-based processors myself. A few other things to take a look at. If you're running into some full table scans, Carlos actually published an article about some things that he found with range optimizer max mem size settings that causes some full table scans. So, some real live work and troubleshooting that he, uncovered. Our good friend Sergey Pronin, who recorded a video with me on Kubernetes, is talking about how to drain Kubernetes nodes wisely. The Hoss, that's me, actually wrote an article on keeping open source open. And so if you haven't been following all of the hubbub and you haven't been watching all my videos, I've probably beat this to death, but we'll beat it one more time. Elastic changed their license to SSPL, and that's actually a really bad thing for the community. So I wrote about it. We've also got a couple other blogs and some other things coming up with Peter. You might see an interview with me and Peter as well that's been out there. And I'm talking at FOSDEM specifically on this topic. So encourage you to take a look and read if you are interested in where the open source market's going and some of the dangers that we potentially could face there. A few other things. Hey, guess what? MySQL 8.0.2.3 has been released, and there is some awesome content out there around it already. But we have some of the highlights of it, so if you're interested in just a quick rundown of the highlights, Marco Tusa has you covered. But if you want a little bit more depth, I'm going to point you over to our good friend LaFred's blog. So LaFred is the MySQL evangelist over at Oracle for MySQL, and he has produced a 3-part series on invisible columns. It is outstanding. I'm going to try and get him on to do one of my tech talks. I hope I can, but these are really well written. I would really encourage everyone who is running MySQL to take a look at them, because I think invisible columns are pretty darn cool. So definitely check that one out. Also, if you're running clusters, you know that backing up and building new nodes of the cluster is always kind of hard because you have to handle backups. So MySQL has introduced a backup plugin or a clone plugin. And so there's some compare contrast with Petpla writing an article on, using the clone plugin versus Percona Extra Backup. And so if you want to know the pros and cons of it, take a look. Also, our good friend Robert Bernier is back again talking about PG Stat Monitor. So if you're monitoring Postgres, if you want to get a richer set of stats around what Postgres is doing so you can troubleshoot, and if you're running Postgres, you totally want that, check out Robert's blog here, because he'll go into a little bit of the depths on why this matters. Of course, we had some releases, so I will let you take a look at releases, which are always important. And then there's a couple other articles on performance schema from Shri. If you're looking to see what changed in the show process list version 2, that's in the performance schema, you can take a look at that. Plus, we've got some interesting articles from Shemek on how to store MySQL audit logs in Mongo. And if you're thinking about deploying MongoDB, take a look and read Corrado's article as well. And that catches you up on the blogs for the last couple of weeks. We appreciate you looking, and we would definitely encourage you to go check out these blogs. Share them, like them, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and definitely subscribe to that blog. We really appreciate you watching. Hang in there.